Reality TV star Josh Duggar has apologized for what he called wrongdoing in response to reports that he molested 5 girls starting in 2002.
Authorities have reportedly said that he cannot be prosecuted because the statute of limitations is run out. So why do we have time limits on prosecuting crimes? Good question. Heather's here. Heather, I know you talk about hundreds of years of law and precedent.
Yeah, we absolutely are. You know, outside of federal crimes, each state legislature determines its own numbers. There are criminal and there are civil statutes of limitations, and when the clock starts ticking is different for each case, whether it's when the crime or negligence happened, when it was reported, or when its effects were discovered.
Part of the reason why I have them is just the idea that people have to get on with their lives at some point. You can't have the sword hanging over your head indefinitely.
Well, why not? If you did something wrong.
It's really sad to see rapists and child molesters go free.
The problem is that stories change and evidence disappears, and at some point we're not going to be confident that we're going to get an accurate portrayal of what happened 20 years ago.
David Larson teaches law at Hamlin.
The Sixth Amendment that says that everybody has a right to a speedy trial. So that's kind of where it starts.
In Minnesota, there is no statute of limitations for murder, kidnapping, or trafficking of a minor. Trafficking of an adult and bribery are 6 years, arson and check forgery are 5, and when it comes to sex offenses on an adult, it's 9 years. On a minor, it's 9 years or 3 years after it's reported. But if there's DNA, there's no limit.
Is it fair?
Well, fair is always in the eye of the beholder.
You need to be able to stand up, face your predator, and say you did something wrong.
Memories fade, records are lost, and the facts are harder and harder to discover.
Recognizing that we do have a presumption of innocence. Not everybody who's being charged or being sued is liable. We do have to kind of weigh both sides of it.
On the civil side, a contract breach or sex abuse of an adult, 6 years. Libel, slander, or assault, 2 years.
It seems sort of arbitrary.
And most medical malpractice cases, 4 years.
A lot of policy goes into this in terms of thinking about what has been the offense, how egregious is it, how soon do we think that the plaintiff should be able to understand what happened to them.
And in 2013, Minnesota lawmakers did something very rare. They got rid of the statute of limitations for survivors of child sex abuse. Only for a short window of time, though. It's only for 3 years, from May 2013 to May 2016. Then that limit will come back. The idea was because so many victims were coming forward with cases of abuse by priests that this window would give them a chance to address what had happened years and years ago.
And people have.
They absolutely have. I mean, dozens of cases. It used to be you had to tell folks by age 24, and now with this 3-year window, people are 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
Interesting history on the whole thing. Right.
Thank you, Heather.
If you have a question for Heather, a good question, of course, email it by going to WCCO.com/links.